Good morning, and it is lovely to be back, and hopefully to have you back with me. Just allowing my laptop to catch up with us while we wait and see if anybody's going to come in and join us. Good morning. Welcome in. Do let me know if there's any problems with the sound. I'm hoping that there isn't, but one of the issues I had was that my microphone plug didn't used to plug properly into my old phone, and I used to have to take my case off every day to do my filming, and then occasionally I would forget to put my case back on, and hence it fell on the floor and broke the screen, and wasn't able to function for a couple of days, which surprisingly knocked me out of kilter. Not being able to come in at 9 o'clock in the morning with you guys really knocked me out of kilter. But we're back today, so hopefully that sound is okay. I've been having a bit of a tweak and a bit of surgery on my my jack that I plug in, so that hopefully it is pushed in fine. Excellent. The sound is fine. That means that I'm filming with my case still on, so hopefully my phone will remain protected. I've got a big basket in front of you. When I finished my live on Tuesday, I sat and I thought, what should we do? What shall we do on tomorrow, on Wednesday? And I'd sat and I'd planned. I hadn't got cards prepared, but I'd planned what we were going to do. Look, I'd got it all in a basket ready. Unheard of. That must have been why my phone, in shock, crashed to the floor on Tuesday evening. But we will go on. We will do today what I'd got planned for Wednesday. And what I will do to make up is I will come in on Saturday and Sunday morning. We'll catch up. We'll get our full quota of lives this week. We've just had a strange weekend in the middle of the week. So lovely to see you all. Morning Emma, morning Beryl, morning Lisa, Valerie and Div. Lovely to see you all there. Lovely to have you all back. Hopefully my day will go better today because I've been able to spend an hour with you guys. I've got my tea. All is well. Okay. Where were we when we were so rudely interrupted? We were playing with this Tropics bundle. And on Monday, which is Tuesday, whatever day it was, as if this week isn't confusing enough, it was already a bank holiday. So on Tuesday, we were having a play and we did a bit of casing the catalogue, and we created these three cards from the inspiration that is there in the catalogue. And I thought that today we would go on and we would create a pineapple, and we would do something really quite not so tropical with this bundle. So let me bring my chair in and I can put my basket behind me. So here is the suite that we're playing with, the Tropical Oasis suite, in my poor little catalogue that's falling apart. Look, that's upside down. So it's this beautiful Tropical Oasis suite that we're playing with. It's the centre pages of my catalogue that have fallen out. So all of these gorgeous samples just here. And you've got your paper and your stamp set and your dies, an embossing folder, trinkets. The Saddle Brown Stays On ink is part of this suite. Memory and more cards, and some braided burlap trim. So lots of gorgeousness in that suite that we are going to have a play with. So let's have a look at this fancy pineapple die. Now in the stamp set you get a little pineapple, but in the dies you get this die, and I know it's there because I've seen it, and this die. So you get your pineapple and your pineapple leaves. Excuse me, I've got a bit of a frog in my throat this morning. So we're going to have to start with a bit of a play with this pineapple. So what I'm going to do is I've just grabbed some Mango Melody cardstock out of my scrap box, and I've also grabbed a piece of old olive out of my scrap box. So I'm going to cut the pineapple top that you can plant in your on your windowsill and make grow. I'm going to pop that through in some old olive, and this one in Mango Melody. Dear, got a real tickle in my throat this morning. I don't think it has anything to do with COVID-19. It has far more to do with high pollen levels. It's not something that's unusual at this time of the year for me to be a bit tickly and coughy. Right, so we've got our little pineapple and we've got our leaves. So as we pop these out, you'll see that with the leaves, you've got these pieces that are cut into it that you can press out to give you a really nice spiky feel to your pineapple top, because pineapple tops are incredibly spiky. So that's that bit. So we'll just give those a bit of a curl out, give that a bit of a 3D feel, and we'll have a bit of a play with that. And then the pineapple body, the body of the pineapple itself, let's get our foamy mat and let's give that a run over with our brush. I haven't even worried about putting the brush on my stick. That's most of those out. That means we can then go in with the pointy end on our pickup tool and just get rid of those last few pieces. So there we have our pineapple. Really quite cute. Just get rid of those bits. That's the nice thing about these mats, is those little bits stick on it until you hit it over the bin. So what we're going to do with these now is I'm going to bring in some inks and some sponges and have a mossy meadow, and going to have some watercolour pencils, and somewhere mossy meadow ink, got an early espresso ink there and an early espresso sponge. Right, and I've got the rich raspberry, the daffodil delight and the old olive watercolour pencils. So the first thing I'm going to do is open up this early espresso, and I'm going to ink it up with my bit of sponge, and I'm just going to give that bit of a sponge over the top, like that. So it's gone from being very sort of bright mango-y yellow to having that sort of dulled down and bits of orange on it. And then I'm going to take the rich raspberry and the old olive pencils, and I'm just going to add some colour on these points of the pineapple, because pineapples are very multi coloured. I'm going to put a little bit of red, and it is just a sort of hint of colour. I'm not worried too much. Bit of rich raspberry, so sort of nice purpley, pinky sort of hue. There's a little bit in there that hasn't popped out. There we go. Then I'm going to do likewise with the green. And just add in a bit of old olive. Sort of blending it up from that pink on the end, adding in a bit of green. So we've got a bit of brown, a bit of green, a bit of rich raspberry in there. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to stick this pineapple to another piece of Mango Melody card. I don't get my Tombow working. I just have a sense that this is going to blob, and I really don't want it to blob. I had one that got left laying on its side overnight, and they're much better off left. So this is one that's been upside down, because then you don't then get the little bungs forming in the end of the Tombow. Because there is that sort of rubbery sort of type solution in the glue, it sort of does, if it's left to set, you get that sort of little, well, for want of a better word, bogey type effect. Right, so I'm going to stick that to there, and then I'm going to take my paper snips, and I'm just going to chop off that excess card. And then I'm going to cut round this. So then what we get is we get the, you can see how much we've coloured that now when you see the Mango Melody in the background. I'm just going to snip carefully round there. Obviously you don't have to do this, you don't have to back your pineapple, but I just wanted to give it that sort of multi-tonal effect. So there we've got the orangey sort of Mango Melody in the background, and with Angie hi, and we've got that sort of sponged and coloured effect in the top. So that sort of gives it a real nice 3D-ish multi-tonal effect. And then because we can't then abandon our leaves, what I'm going to do with the leaves is I'm going to take, oh no Angie, phone charger hasn't arrived yet. I hope it arrives soon. If it's anything like us, our post is all a little bit all over the place, which is causing me some headaches in terms of kits I've posted out for classes, but we will see. Right, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to sponge the ends of this old olive spiky pineapple top, and I'm sponging it with Mossy Meadow, so with the darker green. And I'm also going to take my sponge dauber and sponge the ends of the spiky bits to give them a bit of colour as well. So that's given our leaf a bit of sort of dark and lighter shades. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the Daffodil Delight pencil, And I'm going to add in some yellow. So even if you're just cutting, thank you Angie, you are a star. Even if you are just cutting out of plain cardstock, you're not doing any colouring in and things, it doesn't mean that you can't go in and alter it and tweak it. So we're adding in a bit of yellow to our leaves. There we go. That really brings that little bit of, hi Glenda, brings that little bit of green card to life. So old olive card, sponge with mossy meadow around the edges and on the tips of the spike, and some yellow added in. So now we've got rather a nice authentic looking pineapple, who's really quite fun, and you could do all sorts of things with that. You could use them as home decors and parties and things, as well as on cards, but we're going to create a card with it. Let me put the lid on these tombos. Let's pop that one in there upside down. You know where to find them when we want them. Let me just pop my pencils away. Oh. Okay, so I've got here dum, dum, dum. Need to sort out a card base. We need to decide what actual colour card base we want. So what I've got is some of the papers from the same suite, from the Tropical Oasis Designer Series paper, and we've got to decide, morning Pam, morning Doreen, we've got to decide whether we want to go with the really loud fruity pattern, whether we want to stay with just the pineapples, or whether we want to do a bit of mix and match. So we could have a really bright fruity background with a plain pineapple base and then a pineapple on it, or we could have a pineapple base with a fruity strip and then our pineapple, or we could go, keep them both the same, so we could have fruity background, fruity strip, pineapple, or we could go pineapple, pineapple. What are we thinking? Anybody got any preferences? I'm just going to grab a piece of while we're thinking about what way we'd like to go. Look if I've got a ready-made soft suede card base. I have. The second one, so is that this one or is that one? Can't remember which way we did it. So that one, is this the one we're liking? Pineapple background, fruity strip, and I'm thinking possibly, but we haven't used any soft suede in there, the sort of colour that when you finished is more soft suede than, or if we're going to use that one, do we want to come in with a pool party. And I will have to just go and grab my pool party card. Came yesterday, so hold on 2 seconds. I'd unpacked my box in the other room and hadn't brought it through, and I was out of pool party card. So that one that we have now, okay. Yeah, I think we're going to go pool party card if we're using that pool party strip, because I think that will pick out that colour. So let's let's cut that straight down the middle, 14.9 centimetres. Swing it round, move the cutting blade and score it at 10.5. That's the one. If we're going to use that strip, we definitely want a pool party background. Oh, excellent. You perhaps have to make her a pineapple fridge magnet. There, so like that. Okay, let's get our glue, because the snail's in the other room where I was packing parcels, sticking labels on parcels. Oh, so much going on. It is a whole new way of life. There's a whole new way of working. Sort of sending out parcels by post. But yeah, I'm a bit concerned about how long the post is taking. Right, so what I've done is this strip here. So this paper backing here, so you've got your card base that is 14.9 by 10.5. You've got your first mat, so your Mango Melody mat is 10 by 14.4, and your paper is 9.5 by 13.9. I've cut this second mango mat at 13.9, so it just sits on that paper, and it was 3.5 centimetres wide. So that paper strip is again 13.9, so it runs the whole length, but it is 3 centimetres wide, and that will sit on there. So I'll stick that on flat, because our pineapple is the thing that we will want to have some dimension to it. Like that. One of the other things that's in this suite of products is this the braided burlap trim. So I think we'll just have a bit of a swoosh of that coming behind our pineapple. So let's get some tear and tape, and we'll stick that swoosh across the back. So this is really it's fairly chunky. It does lay flat, so it's not rounded, but because it is burlap, it does have a little bit of depth to it. I'm going to try and lie that so that that is flat on the back, so it's not adding too much height, that it will sit with some dimensionals behind it. And let's have, I'll pop on some dimensionals on there. Just thinking of parties, and cheese and pineapple. Do love cheese and pineapple. That's possibly a very sort of 70s thing, but still good. Do still love cheese and pineapple. Oh, somebody is ringing. It will have to go to answer phone. My house phone never rings. Right, let's put a few little dimensionals on the back of the leaves just to raise that up. So I want them to raise it up, but I don't want to be able to see them through the gaps. So I've sort of deliberately placed those so that they're not showing through the gaps. Isn't that fun? I was wondering whether to add in one of the little pineapples, but perhaps if we were to put a sentiment on there, what should we have? It's almost like it doesn't want to be too much because the pineapple is centre. Oh, I know, cheese and pineapple, Lisa. It just, ooh. We could just have a little hello, possibly with a pineapple attached somewhere along the line. So let's go to that little oddment of Mango Melody that we had. And an espresso, probably, because we've used that. Little block. Can you hear my mind thinking, where shall I put, how shall we have our little hello? Let's straighten it up first, would be a good plan. Dear oh dear, you'd think I'd be able to stamp straight by now, wouldn't you? Let's just tag that end. That's rather cute. So let's have, I think we'll stick the hello so that it's flat. And then we will, the ever elusive glue dots. What is it about my glue dots that they are forever disappearing? They're definitely not in that box. They go into hiding every time I come live. So let's just get one of those little glue dots. In fact, I think we'll have two because they are quite solid little metal embellishments. And we'll put a couple of glue dots on there, and we'll have one of our little metallic pineapples down the bottom. So there we go. I love that pineapple. I think adding in that sponging and that watercolour pencil just brings it to life. But obviously you don't have to do that. You can just cut it out and go with it. It is beautiful just as it is. But I wanted to have a play with it and add in some more colours. So, one pineapple card, ready to go. You can never have enough pineapple cards in your life. Let's have a look at the other card that is sort of floating around in my head. Let's see how that comes out. It's always exciting. It's like the adrenaline rush. Who knows what's going to happen? Okay. Let's just clear the decks a little bit so we can see where we're at. I know what I didn't do, and that was dampen my sponge. So I'm going to stick my hello on top of my clock just there, and then that will be ready for me to clean. I did wonder actually, yes, looking at that, the other thing that I did think about adding in, let's have a look. Let's see, what colours have we got in there? We would say that was lovely lipstick probably, isn't it? Do you happen to have? Some lovely lipstick. I did wonder, on my little post-it note that I've got here, I had also scribbled down, what about adding in a few little flowers? And leaves. We will decide whether that is something we want or not. Let's take this little leaf just here and the old olive, cut a couple of those out. They're really pretty, those little flowers. And these little leaves are lovely. What are we thinking? Do we want the addition of our little flowers? Does help tie in that pink in the background that isn't visible anywhere else. Pineapple Festival. Are pineapples grown locally then, Glenda? I suspect they are. For us, the only way we grow a pineapple, as I said earlier, was if we have a pineapple, would be to chop the top off and set that to root. Something you do with the children occasionally. So I think that you can, if you're really determined, grow some pineapples. Quite like those flowers. They are cute, aren't they? See, I obviously was so I've stuck one up on the pineapple. And we'll stick those couple of leaves in, and then obviously that is going to shout out now for something blingy in the middle. My bling box fell on the floor as well the other day. Do we want to go as blingy as rhinestones, or I think yes, we'll keep it with pearls, I think. And we'll put some pearls in the centre there. There, they are cute, aren't they? Right, where were we? having then doubled back on myself. Oh wow, Glenda, how lovely. So I'm sure that you can find great use for the pineapple dye then. Growing pineapples in your back garden, great stuff. Right, so that's the pineapple finished with its little addition of flowers. Let's go back to the second card. Let me find all my little bits and pieces. So for the second card, I have got a soft suede side opening card base. I have got one of those is, are they both the same size? They're both the same size, so it doesn't matter. One is for a mat on the background and one is to do some stamping on and cutting out. And then I've got a couple of the papers from the DSP pack, Quick Celebrity. The lovely thing about this DSP pack is that you've got the really bright, bold florals that are fabulous for the ladies, or for making Hawaiian shirts for the guys. But you've also got these sort of more muted sets, these more muted papers. So this sort of textured brown and textured old olive. They're really lovely. So they've got a real nice feel to them, so that they make sort of quite nice, more men's type cards. Now what I'm going to do with this paper is I'm going to run it through this embossing folder. So this is the embossing folder that's also in this suite. What's its official name? Coastal Weave 3D embossing folder. I'm going to grab my blue plate. Sorry, well, I'm crashing around. I'm just putting the lid back on my trolley because my plate is in the top. So I'm going to take this piece of DSP. There's no reason why you can't emboss DSP as well as cardstock, and I'm going to run that through my big shot. Now, so there we are. I don't know if you can see that sort of, there we go, that's good. That lovely embossed pattern on there. I'm going to have a dig about amongst my random tools and bits. This unbelievably scruffy looking thing here is actually a sanding block. Hello Linda. Just going to run that sanding block over the top of that paper. How fun is that? So we're going to have that paper coming across the top here in a minute. So I'm going to trim that down to size. I didn't trim it down in the first place because I wasn't sure how much the embossing folder would scrunch it up a little bit and shorten it. And then we've got this piece of paper just here, and I'm going to tear this piece. And instantly, when you start doing things like this to your paper takes on a whole different life of its own. It's to look very different. So you want to always tear it towards you. So if you want the white border like this on card or paper, if you want that border, that fluffy border to be upwards, tear it towards you. If you tear the paper away from you, that fluffy piece will be underneath. So then I'm going to ink up my little sponge with my old olive, and I'm just going to come in around the edge, and that will tone down that in your face white edge. So just little circular movements. I'm on a glass mat here. That does help when you're inking because the ink sits on the top, it doesn't soak in. You can get lots of sort of crafty, messy mats and things that will do an equally good job of that. There. So we have our embossed paper in the background and our old olive mat. Now I'm going to take this piece just here. I'm going to take this leaf. I love this leaf. It's got a lot of sort of dimension to this stamp. And I've got some old olive, some soft suede and some pumpkin pie. So this is going to be a very out of season card. But just goes to show that these stamp sets are never just a one trick pony. Let's randomly stamp some of these old olive leaves in the background. I am going to have to grab a baby wipe. Oh, I'm trying not to use baby wipes as much, but because I forgot to ink up my chamois. Oh, I could have got my Stampin' Spritz out. Let's have some soft suede. That soft suede's definitely in need of a re-ink, isn't it? And we'll just put in a few soft suede. And then some pumpkin pie. It won't really matter if they overlap slightly. So there we've got a very leafy background. That one there really didn't stamp very well. Can we? Yeah. Really sort of leafy background there. So very autumnal. And then I am going to have a dig about and there's my pumpkin pie re-inker. Now I don't know whether I've got a new style soft suede. Let's have a look. Because when it comes to re-inking, you can use you can use the new style inks on your old ink pads, but you can't use or shouldn't use. No, I've only got an old style soft suede. You shouldn't use your old style inks on your new ink pads. So if you've got a new ink pad and old style inks, you need to get yourself a new ink refill. If you have just just going to see if this needs, if you have an old style ink pad and a new ink refill, you can use it. So I'm going to dig out my old style soft suede and I'm just going to re-ink that and make a note. We've had so much problems getting re-inkers in the UK that I'd almost sort of stopped looking, but I do need to see which ones I can now get. And let's re-ink up our pumpkin pie as well. I'm going to put my new soft suede to one side for now. Okay, let's start with Old Olive while those sink in a bit. And I'm just going to do an old olive leaf, a soft suede leaf that's now very dark, and a pumpkin pie leaf. And let's put the lids on those for a minute, and let's cut out these 3 little leaves. And we have got a die that will do that for us. So we need to swap back our sandwich, bring in our thin die adapter and our 2 acrylic plates, take out our blue embossing plate. And obviously I'm going to have to cut these out one at a time. Ooh, crash! How much noise can you make when cutting out a leaf? There is one pumpkin pie one. One soft suede. And I thought that one had slipped a bit. Right, and one old olive. Let's clean up that ink off of there so we're not spreading it around. And bring back in our papers. So I'm going to put some glue on the back of here. What I'll do is I'll stick it on and then trim it when it's in place. So we'll have that coming across the middle there. See, I've picked up the ink on the back, but that doesn't matter. What's on the back stays on the back. And then we'll stick on our square of torn, grunged up. How different is that paper on the front from the paper on the back? Look at that with those bright, bold flowers. I'm going to put that on a bit of an angle like this. And let's bring back in, seeing as it's in the suite, and that's the suite we're playing with, our braided burlap, and we'll just wrap a piece of that around here. do want to anchor it down quite well because it is fairly thick. It's going to have a bit of a spring back to it. Oh, let's come this way, that's better. And then we've got our 3 leaves. Now we'll put those up with some dimensionals. Hello, Sally. One. Two. And 3. Let's tie a bit of this through there. I'm going to cut that down. And I think I might fray the ends as well. To give that a different texture again. You could obviously pull out these individual threads if you wanted to. So we've got some fluffy burlap. I'm going to put that onto the card front with dimensionals just because this is so chunky on the back here that you need to be able to lift it up. Otherwise it's not going to stick properly on your card base because of the chunk in the middle. Let's add in a couple more smaller strips just there. So as I say, this isn't at all seasonal. It's nothing sort of, it's not at all spring-like, very much autumn, although of course it may be that somewhere in the world, for some of you, you may be into autumn. We're just heading into spring. It may be that you are autumnal, and that this is very appropriate. I don't think that any of our little charms are quite going to work with that. There is a leaf, but it's, I don't know, because it's such a different sort of leaf, I'm not sure that it quite works with that. No, I think I've dropped one of those on the floor. Could have one of your little guitars, Div. But I think we'll go without a leaf. We'll just have a greeting in there. And so we need to be something that is sort of appropriate for the male theme of the card. So I think perhaps a rest and relax, you deserve it would work quite well there. And we will have that. Let's see, I think a little bit of soft suede card. No, it's not quite going to be big enough. I was using, here it is. I was going to say, I know I had soft suede out yesterday and I was preparing my bingo packs. There we are. Some soft suede card with a little piece of Very Vanilla to stamp onto. And excellent, Doreen. So you're ready. You're into autumn. Good. Somewhere in the world it's appropriate. Everybody else, just hold on to the idea and know that you can buy a tropical set now, have it all through the summer and still carry on playing with it in the autumn. I think I'm going to go soft suede for that greeting. Oh, I actually got that fairly straight for once. Let's chop that off. Yeah, I'll have that so it tucks underneath there, I think. I'm going to snip it off at an angle. So that's really one stamp. Apart from the greeting, we have literally just used that leaf stamp, but I think it is a beautiful leaf stamp. Let me find my bigger scissors. Great stuff. Okay, let's stick that down underneath there. And obviously if we were going to put an insert in there, which being a soft suede card you really would need to, even if you didn't normally put inserts in. You could take our leaf again and just add in, oh actually let's have one this side as well. And espresso. Oh. Pumpkin pie. And a bit of old olive. inside there. Beautiful. And you could also do the same on your envelope. Just realised that I've not actually stuck that card to that card base. I thought that's looking very wonky because I've not actually stuck it on. Okay, so two very different cards. One just using that pineapple die and the little flower die to create sort of a hot tropical, ready for Glenda's pineapple, and her pineapples growing in her back garden. And then one far more autumnal, but just to show the diversity of this stamp set really, and these dies, that it isn't just about the big bloomy flowers, as gorgeous and stunning as they are. So I hope you've enjoyed that. It has been so lovely to be back with you. I really can't believe. I know that they keep saying in these times that in terms of maintaining good mental health, one of the things that you should do is have a schedule. And I didn't realise until my schedule went to the wall how much I had been relying on that in terms of, you know, how my day was structured and all of those sorts of things. So I hope that you find these at 9 o'clock. Somebody else had said to me, I think it was Beryl, that said it just wasn't the same because 9 o'clock I'd got into the pattern of everything stops at 9 o'clock. Yeah, me too, Beryl. So we're back. We're back. I'll be back tomorrow, and we'll do a bit more playing then. As I say, I'll come in tomorrow and I'll come in on Sunday as well. We will catch up. We won't miss out. And if you can't join me live because you're off doing other exciting things, then do catch up. So I'll be back and I'll see you tomorrow. So have a good day.